Welcome back guys, it's Vite here. Well, in this video, we're gonna learn how to create a UI build just by using React with TypeScript using Vite. And we're gonna use the modern JavaScript libraries, the UI library like the ShadCN, right? Which is completely lightweight and work super friendly and fastly with the React application. So if you haven't learned React with TypeScript, don't worry, I got your back. So we're going to build everything completely from the scratch. You're going to understand how to work with the TypeScript and what is the difference between the JavaScript and the TypeScript, how to send the props and how to send the props along with its types. And that's what this course, this particular video is all about. It's not just alone the UI build. You're going to learn the complete project behind the structure, behind how to structure it, how to create a reusable component, how to structure the layout so you can work with the mobile friendly applications, right? So you're gonna learn everything from the scratch. And if you are an intermediate developer or a senior developer, this video is all about for the beginners. So if you are an intermediate developer, you can just follow through and understand how does it being structured and how you can enhance your skills, right? So if you are a beginner, you don't have to panic how to use the TypeScript and everything. This video, it got you back. Okay, and not only that, this project is completely responsive. You can see we having a lightweight images, and we having the UI is structured properly, and the UI it's completely looking stunning, right? So all these images and all these source code, it's completely free. See, it's completely free. You can click the link in the description below so you can have the source code in your hand, and you can have all the assets links in your hand as well. All right, so without wasting your time, let's get started and I'll see you in the video. All right guys, so now what you have to do is let's open up a new tab in your browser and search for ShadCN. Yes, ShadCN, and search for ShadCN, and here click this build your own, or yeah, click this build your own. Yep, you can see all these things, right? So you can see the menus, you can see the styles, neutral colors and all those things. In this case, I'm gonna choose with this default style itself. Okay, so you can choose okay, neutral theme color, it's going to be the same. Okay, so I'm not going to change anything. Yep, so in this case, I'm going to change this into blue. That's not looking good, so let's keep it neutral itself. And the font size, I'm going to choose the Roboto, and the main font size, it's going to be this Ornato Sans. Yeah, that would be perfect. Okay, okay, so perfect. Now all I have to do is to click get the code, and I'm going to change it to Vite because that's the one we're going to use. And I'm going to change it into base UI. I'm not going to choose the Radix UI, or you can choose the Radix UI. That's up to you. In this case, I'm going to change it into base UI, and I'm not going to create any monorepo or anything else. Just I'm going to make sure use the pointer on buttons. Okay, this is the one. Perfect. Now all I have to do is to just click copy this command. Just copy it, and let's open up your terminal. Let me open up the terminal. Let me update it. Yep, here we go. So I can make it bigger so you can see it. Let me jump into the desktop location. This is the location where we are going to create our project, right? So I'm just going to paste that. Okay, pm dlx ShadCN, something like this. If you are getting error on pnpm, so you just have to install the pnpm command, which is going to be this npm install pnpm -g. That will install the pnpm package installer. So npm install -g pnpm. This will install the pnpm globally. Okay, in this case, I'm just going to install this and hit the enter. It is going to download all the necessary stuffs, and here I just need to, it will ask me the Vite application name, right? So since we are going to build this one, so I'm just going to say ecom furniture, something like that, ecom furniture, something like this, and hit the enter, and that is going to create a new Vite project. This may take a few minutes, so let's wait until it's successfully done. All right, right, guys, now it's successfully done. All we have to do is to open this in the Visual Studio Code. So let's open the Visual Studio Code by using this eCom Furniture app. So let's open this eCom Furniture app in the Visual Studio Code. So it's loading up. This is my Visual Studio Code. Here it is. It is my another screen. So let me bring this up over here. Perfect. Let me close this. Now let me make it a little bit bigger so you can see it's good. Perfect. Now this is what the project structure it looks like, and it's installed. It's using the TSX, the TypeScript. Okay, it's not that much hard. Anyways, I got you, so don't worry about that. We are going to build it completely from the ground, and I'm going to show you every tips and tricks, everything when you're building this applications. So open the source folder. This is the public folder where you have your assets and everything. And inside the source folder, you have this main.tsx file. This is the main file where we are loading our root element and we are loading our main app component. So basically that gives you the theme provider that helps us to switch between the light and dark mode as well as. So by default itself, ShadCN provides you that option in order to work with. Okay. And inside this app.tsx file, this is the basic app, just exactly the same way what you do with the JSX. But the difference between the JavaScript and the TypeScript is you just have to mention what exact type it's going to carry on. For instance, let's say you are sending a prop as a string. You just have to mention it as a string so it can accept only the string. That's it. No difference in it. Okay. So this, and we have our index.html file. That's our root HTML file where we have the division called root. Inside this particular division only, basically we are rendering everything from the main.tsx, because this is the place where we are creating our root element, because we are targeting that division and we are rendering everything as a component into that particular div in a strict mode. You have to load it in a strict mode. Okay, that's after React 16, it's compulsory. Okay, perfect. Now let's fire this application and let's see what does it looks like. So clear pnpm run dev, that is running up our, yep. So now we have our local host. So let me run this local host. Yep, this one 5173. That's the local host URL. Here we go. So now we have our applications, and I can switch between the dark mode and the light mode. See, you can see the difference, right? But just by using this toggle button, I can switch between the light and dark mode. Since this website, this project, it doesn't have that light mode and dark mode switch. But anyways, we're gonna implement that over here. Okay, this is not going to be a full stack. We are just going to build this UI exactly as it is, but we're going to build it everything completely from the ground. Okay, let's go ahead and do that now. So now what we have to do is our Firebase application is up and running. So let me open the GitHub. So I'm just going to open the GitHub and I'm going to create myself a GitHub repository, a new repository, and then I'm just going to say React Vite eCom Furniture app front end. This is going to be June 2026. All right, and I'm going to keep this repository as a public repository, so you can access the source code files and everything completely for the free. So let me create this repository. Perfect. And I'm just going to copy this, and here let me get back over here and click in the git source control. This is the one, git source control, and get into here, and I'm gonna click the remote, add the remote from the GitHub. Okay, either add it like this, or you can follow up all these commands over here. Okay, all these commands, git init, git add remote, because already git it's been initialized, and you just have to give this commit message, choose the branch, and then give your remote and push it to your branch. That's it. In this case, I'm going to choose this, and then I'm just going to say React eCom Furniture app something, hit the enter, and then I'm just going to change the changes as project initialized with ShadCN. Okay, so click the changes. Okay, it is asking us to give the empty branch. Why does this mode, and let's give it to the publish. Okay, it does already have the initial commit, I think so. So that's the reason. If I click this, yep, it does already have the commit message, so it is being published right now over here. We can't give an empty commit message, that's why it's giving us. Okay, if you make any modifications, then it will shows you the modification commits and everything over here. Perfect. All right, so we successfully pushed it into the GitHub. So let's move on and start working on our project now. All right. All right, people. So now what we have to do is we have to go ahead and create this header section. So that's what we are going to do now. So let's go ahead and do that. So for the header, we need the logo, right? So you can download that logo from the assets link in the description below. So click that, you can download this logo. In this case, I do already have that. So let me bring that and I'm going to put it into the public folder. And I'm going to change this name into logo.png. Perfect. This is the logo that we want to keep it inside. Okay. Perfect. Cool. So next what we need to do is, let me get back into the app.tsx. This is the file. And here I'm going to delete everything. And then I'm going to bring the RAFCE, React functional arrow functional component. And then I'm just going to make this as the home page. Save it. That's going to cause an issue because we don't have this. So here I just need to bring the home page from the app.tsx. Save it and refresh it. npm run dev, and then here refresh it. You should be able to see the home page, which is fine and working. Now what we need to do is I'm going to create myself a new file over here called as header.tsx file. Okay, so then I'm just going to say RAFCE, React arrow functional component. Then I'm going to rename this file as the header component. Let me get into the app.tsx. And inside this app.tsx, this is the place where we have to bring the header. Okay, save it. Okay, so multiple files can be exported from the components folder. So I'm going to create myself a new file called index.ts. And here from this file I'm going to export the component. Export default as header from /header. Save it. Okay, then I can simply delete this and I can get it from the /components itself, which is cool. All right, now it's working and the header has been imported. And for the entire thing, this needs to be accessing the complete length, right? So class name, which is going to be width full. It needs to access the complete width flex 1. Okay, I'm not going to use anything else apart from that. Then let me jump into the header section, and inside the header section I'm going to change the tag, use the proper tag for the header itself. Then I'm going to make sure it's going to take the class name as a complete width as the full. Then it needs to be container. It should not spread beyond that size. The maximum size is going to be 1536 pixels, not more than that. It should not stretch out not more than that. Then it needs to be always maintain the content in the center of the screen, so mx needs to be auto. Then the padding on the small screens, it's going to maintain the small screens padding width as 2.5, like 10 pixels, or 3.5 14 pixels. Then on the big screens from the medium devices onwards, padding needs to be 6. Okay, let me keep the header over here. Now even if you are stretching out the header, it will not go and stick to the bottom left corner because it's not going to stretch beyond the 1536 pixels. That's the thing, that's what we are doing. Okay, then everything needs to be flex, item center, justify needs to be between, not center, it needs to be between. So let me enable the word wrap. Okay, and here we need to bring our logo section. So let me bring the logo container over here. So right after here, and I'm just going to create a new file over here called logo container.tsx. So for this I'm gonna RAFCE, change this into logo container, something like this. Then I'm gonna export that file from here. Export default in the name as logo container from logo container. Oops, not theme provider, logo container. Save it, close this. Okay, and we need to create an interface, a props. What are the props that we are going to supply? So basically user can customize the logo, image, sizes and everything, and the user needs to supply the URL, right? So for that, what I'm going to do is for here I'm going to create an interface logo container props. Open it, and this is going to get the class name prop, which is going to be an optional prop. If user wants to supply it, he can supply it, or else he doesn't want to do that. And if you're constantly going to change the logos and everything, and if you wish to keep it as a responsive one, reusable code, you can supply the URL as well as a string over here. But in this case, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get this logo container. From the logo container props, I'm gonna stretch out and get the class name from it. Then I'm gonna make sure this is going to return an image tag. So let me get the image tag, image, and the source code. Where it has been, source code is directly coming from /logo png. So let's get that /logo.png. okay, and save this, and let's get the logo container over here. If everything is working fine, our logo should be displayed over here perfectly. It's working over there. Then I can simply supply the class names, right? So class name, so we need to join our custom class name along with the class names which is provided by the user as well as. So get the CN property, which is coming from add library utils, which is a CN function, is nothing but a function provided by the ShadCN in order to merge the Tailwind CSS on the conditional based. Okay, so here supply the CN and supply the common classes. Along with this, you have to merge the class names, which if I want to customize it from outside, along with that, join with the default classes over here. So width, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the width. The minimum width is going to be 12, which is going to be 48 pixels. Okay, so fix the width as 12. Okay, 12, it's a little bit, let's get 16 or 20. I think 20 would be fine. In our case, 20, it's looking so good. I'm going to keep it as the 20, and then I'm going to fix the height as and then I'm just going to make sure object as content. Perfect. That's all we wanted, and which is working perfectly how we needed it. Now we have the logo, right? Then I need to bring this the header sections. Let's worry about that later. Then I need to bring this particular section, which is going to have these 3 different buttons over there. So let's get back and bring those things over here. So right after here, I'm going to create myself a division, and then I'm just going to make sure the class name, which is flags, item center, and justify center. Okay, and now in the ShadCN, if you check it out over here, we do have this component called button component. Okay, this is the button component. If you check it out the code, these are the variants, default, outline, second line. The reason why we choose the ShadCN is because it's completely lightweight and it's going to give you the code, so you can customize this however you wanted it. So I'm going to get this code, then I'm going to bring it over here, give it as a button. So which it's going to be, if you search for button, you can see that button which is coming from ./UI button. Bring that button up over here. Inside this button, I'm going to bring the icon, which is going to be the heart icon. Okay, so I think import from Lucide React. From the Lucide React, I'm going to get the heart icon. So I'm going to get that heart icon, then I'm going to bring that over here. Lucide React is powered by ShadCN itself, so you don't have to worry about it. So now we have that button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this size of that button. So I'm going to keep the size of the button as the icon itself. Okay, icon itself. Then the variant, right now it is displaying a black variant color. I'm just going to keep the button as the ghost, so you can see only that button up over here. Okay, icon needs to be large, so I'm going to keep button at a little bit large button, so I can see the button round and clear over here. Then for this icon, I'm just going to change the size of the icon as 24. It's a little bit odd. Let's keep it as 36. Okay, it's not changing. Then I'm just going to make sure the class name, height as 8, width as 8. Let's see. Still, it's not changing. maybe the button size it's been pushing us. Okay, that's fine. I think that would be more appropriate. Okay, I can keep this outline. Okay, I can keep it as an outline, but when I'm hovering it, you can see the color, everything is being applied over there. Then I can simply copy this. I can paste it one more time. This time this is going to be the notification, which means the bell icon. Yes, I'm gonna keep the bell icon. I can see that. Then right after here, I need to bring the avatar. So let's get back over here and search for avatar, where the place where you can display your user image, profile image. So I'm gonna import that. Then I can simply get this and I can put it up over here, just like that. Get over here and okay, so the import method it's showing as an issue, so I can directly import it from where dot slash. Still it's causing as an issue. Dot slash UI slash. Okay, so all these things are not yet been imported. So let's get back over here. Let me stop the server and get it in the ShadCN. We just have to add this, right? So click the installation, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, and if you check it out over here, this is the command that you have to use for add any component, all the component which you want to use it from here. So I'm going to copy this command pnpm dlx ShadCN add, paste it, hit the enter. It is going to give you the list of components which is available, and use the toggle switch A or select manually one by one by using the space key. Press the A, it will select every single component from the ShadCN, hit the enter, and it is going to download all of them into your local project. Okay. It's taking some time. Let's wait. All right, then so now we successfully imported it. Then let's run our application, and then I just have to get back over here, and now I just have to import it from dot slash UI, which is coming from that specific location, just like that. So save this. You should be able to see your user avatar icon over there. So I'm gonna adjust the space between this gap, which is going to be 6. So 6 is a little bit of too much, and I can see that now very clearly. Okay, and now all we have to do is to go ahead and bring this this specific section, the header section. We have to bring this what is that, the navigational menu section. So for that, what we have to do is I'm just going to close this, and get back over here, get into the library folder. I'm going to create a new file called helpers.ts, and inside over here, and along with that, inside the source folder, I'm going to create a new file called types. Inside the types, I'm going to specify a new file called index.ts. So the reason why we are having this types, it's because we have to mention for the navigation menu item, what is the type that menu item is going to carry on. So for that, I'm going to create an interface. We need to export it as well as, right? So export interface, which is going to be nav menu item. For every single navigational menu item, what are the things that you're going to supply in? I'm going to supply the label, the menu name, which is going to be string, which is a conditional one, so it's not an optional one. Then href, which is going to be the hyperlink. This is the type. Now I'm going to create export const nav menu items, which is going to be the type of nav menu item itself, which is coming from types. Then it's going to have the array of nav menu items. Open it. Inside that, each object should carry the very specific type of this menu item. It's going to have the label. Then I'm going to make sure the label is going to be home, then href, which is the type of slash itself. Okay, then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it four more times for about, store, blog, and sale. This is going to be about, store, blog, sale. For the time being, I'm just going to keep it as the home route itself. Later we can change it. That's up to you. Okay, and now all we have to do is to get back to here. Okay, this is the place I'm gonna bring the nav bar, which we don't have that specific components yet. So let's get back into the components and create the nav bar dot tsx, navbar.tsx, and let's say our AFCE, and then I'm just going to say navbar, save this, get in the index.txx, and I'm just going to export it by default as the name of navbar from dot slash navbar itself. Save it, close this, and let's get back into our header.tsx, and let's bring it, import it, save it, get back over here. You should be able to see the navbar over here, which is perfect. And now let's get back into the navbar.tsx. I'm going to change this into nav, change it, and inside the UL tag, change it. And here I'm going to bring the nav bar menu items. Yeah, nav menu items imported from the library. Then I'm going to extract the using map function, open it, items, extract every single item out of it. Okay, inside over here I'm gonna bring the li tag. Let's bring the li tag, supply the key to it. Key, in this case key, it's going to be your item.href, that hyper reference. And inside here I'm gonna make sure display it, and here I'm gonna bring an anchor tag. We have to bring an anchor tag, and then inside that anchor tag only we have to display it, because if you click that, it needs to be navigated. Now you should be able to see all those hyperlinks, and it will be automatically navigating to that specific locations. Now for this UL tag, I'm just going to make sure class name that needs to be flex item center. Okay, and then gap, it's going to be 6. You should be able to have some gap. Then for this li tag class name, I'm gonna have padding 2.5 in all the corners, so I should have some paddings. Okay, and this, it's going to be rounded full, and for this as well as it's going to be rounded full, and BG, it's going to be secondary color, just like that. Then I'm going to increase the padding px. From the px, it's going to be 4, so it should have some space about something like this. And now so for the active link, for the active route, we need to show some differentiations, right? So for the time being, I'm just going to write a conditional styles over here. Later, based on the conditions, we have to change it, but for the time being, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the conditions, right? If the item.href, if it is going to be equals to slash home, then it is going to be BG secondary, something like this. Wait a second. Let me enable the word wrap. What I'm missing over here. Okay, so we have to use the ternary operator. That would be perfect. Let's use the ternary operator. If not, let's keep it as an empty one. What's the issue over here? Oh, I'm not even using the cn function. That's the issue. Let's use the cn function. Let's bring the cn function. That's what I'm wondering why it is not showing. Rounded full and padding 2.5. And if the items item.href, if it is equals to slash home, then I need to make sure it's going to display the BG secondary. Save it. Nothing is looking like that because we don't have to mention it over here slash home or something. Okay, so since both of them are looking in the same color, you can't figure it out what's the thing. So I'm going to make sure it's going to use the 50 percentage of the color, and now you can see the differentiations over here. Okay, so it is going to have some py as well as 0.5, so you have some space. And here, instead of secondary, I'm going to use the gray as 300. That's a bit too much. I can go with 200. Okay, I think that would be more appropriate. Okay, then I'm gonna have the shadow as the medium as well as shadow. So you should be able to have them that shadow that make it a little bit popped up. Then shadow neutral or shadow gray color needs to be 400. Oops, that bit too much. 100 or 200. Okay, that would be more appropriate. Okay, I think they are using different colors, and they are having, okay, so they are using gray color over here. So let's use the gray over here, gray 200. Let's change the color into gray 200, which is perfect. And then I'm gonna use this adding, it's going to be px only, not py. It's going to be 1.5. that would be appropriate, and here py it's going to be 2.5. all right, so that would be more than enough, I think so. So this is how it's going to looks like, and that exactly what we wanted. And the navigation menu section is completely done, which is perfect. And now all we have to do is to go ahead and display this next section, and that is what we are going to do next. All right, guys, so now let's go ahead and create this section. So this looks quite complicated, but anyways, we will finish it. Not an issue. So let's create this over here. I'm just going to say hero section. So let's get into the components folder, and let's create a new file over here called hero section.tsx reafce, and then let's name that as hero section. Save it, and let's get that over here, hero section. Save it. So that should bring up the hero sections over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure this hero section, make it a section, and let's say class name, which is going to be container, and mx auto. Okay, and flex, it's going to be 1. So that should keep the container in the center. Even if you're expanding it, it will be over there. Perfect. And now let's have some padding 2.5 for the mobile screen, but from the large screen onwards, padding 4, which is, that's what we needed. Then right after here, then I'm gonna create myself a division. Let's say class name, which is going to be width as full, and rounded LG, and BG blue 400, and then the minimum height, which is going to be 288 pixels, or let's keep it as 384 pixels. So height, it's going to be 96. That's how it's going to be, simply just like that. But the color code, it's looking completely different. So I'm gonna get the color code from here, get this color, and I'm gonna copy that color code, and I'm going to use that color code straight away over here, just like that, simply. And then this is going to be rounded pixel. Still, that's not enough for excel. Okay, I think that would be more appropriate. Then inside over there, what we do have, we need to bring this modern minimalistic furniture, something like this. So I'm going to make sure this flex item center and then flex column, justify everything needs to be center. Then over here, I'm going to bring an h1 tag, which is going to be this one, modern minimalist furniture. Modern minimalist furniture. Save it, and that's how it looks. Okay, the font size, it looks quite big. Maybe you can make it even bigger, so which in case it's going to be 6XL. I think that would be fine. Then tracking widest, so that will spread out. Oops, let's keep it as wider. Okay, tracking wider, that would be more appropriate. And then font bold. Okay, that would be fine. All right, then right after here I need to bring a division, class name, width needs to be full, flex item center, justify everything needs to be end, and then padding, which is going to be 6. And here I need to bring a paragraph tag, which is going to be displaying the text, some dummy text. Okay, and let's keep this into another division. For this division, what I'm going to do is width needs to be full when on the mobile devices, but from the large devices onwards, width needs to be the 2 by 3 or 1 by 4. Let's keep it as 40% of the width, and then let's paste it. That's how it looks. Okay, then I'm going to delete some content from here. Okay, if you feel that even big too much, you can reduce the font size. Let's reduce the font size, which is going to be text base and then text neutral 100. That would be the color of that. Okay, I think that would be perfectly fine. And here also I'm going to change this into text neutral 100. Perfect. And I think let's keep this size small. Yep, that would be fine. And if you wish to, we have to bring the call to action button. So right after this paragraph, I'm going to make sure this space Y as 4, and then I'm going to bring a button component. Let's bring the button component from /button. And here I'm just going to say explore more. That would display that. And then I'm going to change the variant. Oh, I'm not going to change the variant size of the button. I'm going to make it as a large button. Save it. That's how it looks. And I'm going to change the color. So class name BG yellow. What is that? BG yellow or something? That's a mild yellowish color. So let's get that color. FFDA75. Okay. BG FFDA75. Something like that. Okay. And then the text color needs to be neutral 900. Okay. And whenever we are hovering it, we need to make it, we need to bring that shadowish effect. So let's say on hover, I need to bring the shadow medium. Then I need to have the transitions, that needs to be the durations for 200 milliseconds. All right, so that should be fine. Okay, and on hover, we need to change the color on hover, as well as I need to bring the same BG this a mild darkish color, right? That would be fine, perfectly fine. All right, now we have that. So next what I need to do is I need to bring this is going to be a carousel, right? And this carousel, we have to build it. And as well as this carousel is taking the some space from the top banner section, right? So that's what we need to do. And this is just a promotion card, which is quite simple as that. Now we have this area over here, and this is completely responsive. You can see that. See, it's completely responsive. And this needs to be text center. That would be fine. All right, everything is perfectly fine. And for this paragraph as well as text needs to be center, but on the large text needs to be on the left side. And itself, next what we need to do for this, it's better flex item center, justify everything in the center, flex column, but on large devices onwards, like this. But on large devices onwards, items needs to be on the starting point. So if this is how it looks, okay, perfect. Now we have that adjustments here and there. The UI looks much even better now. Next, let's go ahead and create the carousels in the hero sections. This is the banner sections that we are talking about, right? So right after here, I'm going to create myself a div where class name. I'm going to break this into a grid. So let's create this as a grid, but it needs to make sure the complete available width full, and then it needs to be a grid columns needs to be 1 on the small devices, but from the large devices onwards, grid column that needs to be, how many columns we can keep it. If you have a close look at it over here, I think this is taking, they break it into 5 or 6 columns probably. If you keep it 3, 4, 5, I think they keep it as a 5 columns. This one is taking 3 and this one is taking 2. So let's create it as a 5 columns on the large devices onwards, 5 columns, and the gap, of course, it's going to be 4, and then padding, of course, it's going to be 4. Inside over here, this is the place where we need to bring the carousel, and this is the place where we need to bring that promotion card. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that carousel component. Let's create this hero carousel.tsx, and let's make this RAFCE, and let's make this hero carousel. And for this, I'm gonna make sure this is taking column span of 1 on the mobile device, large devices onwards, column span of 3 columns on the large devices onwards. So let me bring that carousel over here, hero carousel. Perfect. Now we should be able to see the hero carousel over there, which is looking good. All right, so for this, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna make sure BG, I need to copy this color, right? So let's get back over here. Where is that color picker tool? Let me get that. And this is DFE6F3. Let me copy this BG, paste it. This is how it looks. Then rounded for Excel, and the minimum height needs to be 60 something to 40 pixels, and height needs to be 60, something like this. I think that would be perfect. Okay, and I'm gonna have some padding in it, padding 4, which is super cool. Now all we have to do is to get over here and bring the carousel. In order to do that, I'm going to open the ShadCN and I'm going to use this carousel. You can see this is the stuff that we're going to use over here. Okay, so the same carousel stuff what we are talking about. All right, so all we have to do is we have to bring this React, we have this, and we have to bring all these components straight away. I'm going to copy this. I think card is not necessary. Just copy the carousel. and I'm going to paste it. These all the stuffs. Okay. Next, what we need to do is we have to bring this carousel. So this, the reason why we are doing it is because this is the carousel which is similar. You can see we having this pagination and we having this action buttons. So that does it have over, we have the action buttons and we do have this paginations as well as. So that's the reason we are going to use that. So most of the code, whatever I'm typing, it's going to come from here only. So you don't have to confuse it. Just keep this documentation on your right hand side so you can understand what exactly that I am typing over here. All right. So now let's go ahead and start writing over. And before that, you just have to download the sofas, which I do have in the description, the link, like the images that we are going to use for that hero carousel sections, which I already bring it into my assets folder. Into my public folder. Here it is. See, hero 1, hero 2, and the hero png. So we have all these things. So all we have to do is to directly use it from there. So that's what we are going to do now. So okay, so now next what we need to do is I just have to import the necessary, we have the carousel necessary stuffs. Then I need that icons, whatever the stuffs I needed from the Lucide React. So I'm gonna bring the plus icon, then I'm gonna bring the arrow left icon, then I'm gonna bring the arrow right icon. These are the things. We have the carousels and everything. Then what is going to be is I need to create a product structure, the hero 1 or something like this product structure. So for that, I'm going to get into the type sections. Inside the type sections here, I'm just going to say export const hero carousel items item, or it's going to be an interface, right? So let's create an interface first. Hero carousel item, which is going to be carrying an ID that is going to be a string, and it's going to carry the image URL, which is going to be string as well as. Then of course it's going to carry the price. In this case, I'm just going to give the hard-coded value itself, so that is also going to be string. Then let me open the helpers. Here I'm just going to say export const hero carousel items, which is the type of hero carousel items array. Let's open the array and let's create an object. Give the ID as 1. Then I'm gonna give the image URL, which is coming from where /hero.png. Okay, then of course the price is going to be this. Then right after here, I'm gonna create an image 2, and we're gonna create the image 3 as well as. But in this case, this is going to be hero 1, and this is going to be hero 2. And please make sure the file name which matches that sections. Okay, let's save this and let's get back over here into the heroes carousels. Now we have that, right? Next, what we need to do is for this hero carousel, either directly we can use that items into it, or we can send it as the props or something else. But in this case, I'm going to use that directly over here, right? So what I'm going to do is I need these two things, the API and the current one, these two things. So I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste it straight away over here. Okay, so let's copy that one and let me put that over here. Okay, carousel API, everything will be coming from your carousel itself, so don't worry about it, which is we are just following the ShadCN UI for the TypeScript stuffs. All right, perfect. Next, what we need to do is we need to use this React use effect. Okay, so for that, I'm going to make sure I'm going to little bit customize it. So I'm going to get the React.use effect hook, open it. It's going to take two different parameters. One is going to be a function and another one is going to be an array dependency injections. In this case, whenever the API is being changed, you have to re-render it. That's the thing. If I don't have an API itself, simply return it. You don't have to do anything else. Then I'm just going to say set current, update the current carousel current slide, which is going to be API dot selected scroll snap. Okay, this is the one provided by the ShadCN itself, because once you click it, it needs to push the slide from left to right. Right, so that's the reason we are using this. We have to get the current snap out of it. Then API dot on, whenever there is a change, it's happening. The select, whenever the user selecting, you just have to call this callback function. Then I just need to say set current, open it. Then I'm just going to say API dot select scroll snap. Okay, this is the thing. These are all the necessary stuffs that we want to put it inside over here. Then now all we have to do is to create the main displaying sections, the place where we are going to render and display the carousel content. In this case, I'm just going to say carousel content. Let's bring it. And inside the carousel content, I'm just going to bring that array of stuffs, which is going to be hero carousel items dot map, open it. Then I'm going to extract the item out of it. Okay, then I'm going to bring the carousel item. For the carousel item, I need to supply the key because we need to monitor the unique node. I'm going to supply the item.id. Okay, then inside this is the place where we are going to basically display the image, right? So for that, what we can do is we have to this needs to be in an absolute position, right? Yes, this image needs to be in an absolute position, and that's the same way we have to bring the paginations as well as okay, so what we can do is I'm gonna make this one as a relative position. Then inside over here, I'm going to create a div, and I'm going to make this as an absolute position, top 0. For the time being, I'm going to keep it on the left side as well as 0 as well as. Okay, then inside over here, I'm going to bring an image and the source, which is going to be items.url. Okay, this is what that we are going to currently use it now. If I save this, okay, so we ran into an error. What is that? Carousel. Encounter the children with the same key. Nope, I do have the different keys only. How could that be possible? I'm not sure what is the issue over here. Carousel. We need to figure it out. What is the mistake? So what am I missing? Oh shit. So this needs to be the carousel content that needs to be wrapped inside the carousel itself. So that's the thing that we are getting the very first mistake over here. See, use carousel must be wrapped within the carousel. Yes, that's what we are missing. So this needs to be wrapped inside this carousel self-closing tag. Oops, not self-closing, because we need to bring the carousel content right. So let's keep that. Then I'm gonna use the set API function, which is going to be the set API function. Then options. What are the options that we are going to use? We're gonna use this needs to be loop, of course. Then that needs to be true. So save these changes. So now we are not getting any issues, but it's saying same keys. maybe what we can do is we can get the index as well as, and we can wrap this up. Use the dynamic string literals. Then I'm gonna bring the item.id and join the index along with that. So that should not give us that issue. Okay. Okay, so this image is not as being displaying over there. So let's see what is that issue it's happening. Relative is there, and so for this carousel content, it's making the overflow as hidden. Yep, this is that image. So carousel content, class name, overflow, visible. Mm, 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 mm. So maybe what we can do is object contain. Let's see, object contain. It's there, but why I can't see? I need to bring it on top of it. So let's say Z50. Still, I can't see that. Okay, let's ask the chat GPT. So I'm gonna copy this. Then I'm gonna bring up the chat GPT. Let's give that code over here. And let me supply this image is there, but I can't see the image. Image is being loaded, but I can't see it. What am I missing? Let's see. What are the suggestions that it's giving? The image is loading, but it's likely being hidden because of the positioning and layout. Maybe because of this. I think so. For the time being, let's remove this up. Let's check it out. Okay, so here it is. It's there. Okay. So we can't keep this guy. Okay. So instead of that, what we can do is class name. Let's keep this guy absolute. Oops. Once it has been absolute, it has been gone. So let's say minus top 12 or something. It's not moving. Absolute Z in. Okay. So I'm not sure what I'm doing. So here absolute removes the range from the normal flow. Okay, I can understand that. Okay. Okay, object contain. Yep, that's pretty much everything is good. This is what we wanted, and it's there. And what I can do is, so mobile devices, we can keep it in this way. That would be fine, right? So let's keep this width as full. Flex item center, justify everything in the center. So that would keep everything in the center. Okay. So it's keeping the minimum height as 60. That would be fine. And but from the medium devices, which means in this case on the large devices onwards, I'm going to increase the height as 96, something like this. Okay, and on the large devices onwards, I'm going to make sure it to take the margin top 24. Okay, that's okay. It is not going on. Why is that? Maybe because of this class name overflow visible. Something is blocking our content. See, this is carousel content. Carousel content itself overflow hidden. So let's say class name overflow visible. Okay, okay, okay. So we need to figure it out how to do that. Let's get the chat GPT one more time. Let's say uh let's give this, and let's ask this to, I want to display this image overflow visible just like the reference image. That is going to give us the suggestions. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, this is what happening. Allow your outer container. Oh, this one, this outer container overflow visible. Still, it doesn't make any sense. Most likely the culprit is, let's open the carousel.tsx, and there we need to find out the over. Yep, this is the guy. This is the guy that is the problem which is causing for us. So let's make sure uh try changing this into visible. Let's see what is it happening. Yep, now I can see that. But the issue is, let's say instead of overflow everything visible, I can simply say overflow y visible. Then y visible. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, so now let's say let's get this. See, this is how we just have to alter the code every time. If I change that on the carousel, this is how it's look. Okay, now I can keep that as an absolute. Okay, that makes sense now. Let's copy this and try what? Uh, carousel item. This is the carousel item. So I'm gonna copy this div. Let me copy that div and let me put it over here. Let's see what does it looks like. Still. Mm, 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 mm. Carousel is working, but the problem is the visibility. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. and overflow X needs to be hidden. Ah, come on. If I use the overflow X as hidden, overflow Y is visible, why I can't see? This is the issue. So let's try to figure it out and fix this issue, because either way we are not moving anywhere without fixing this. This is what it's looks like. Mm, mm, mm. What is it asking us to do? Relative column span, height, minimum height, round, everything is perfect. That's what I'm having. An image height, okay, that's what we do have. Relative flex justify center. Okay, so let me try this now. Save this. Still you are doing the same. Here, if I change this into visible, can see that, but the problem is I can see all the slides images on the x-axis. See, this is the issue when you're trying to modify a code. Okay, let me figure it out and let me get back to you shortly. Okay, so what we can do is, so currently it's suggesting us keep the ancestor as hidden itself. Okay, let's keep that as hidden itself. We are not going to touch anything. So it's suggesting us, because since we are using the references, so I can access the current selected slide by using this current. From there I can access the image URL and I can put it up wherever I want. So instead of keeping that stuff inside this section, inside over here, this section, I'm going to cut it out. Okay, I'm not going to keep anything inside the section, just cut it out. Then I'm going to bring that straight away outside, completely outside of the carousel, right over here. I'm going to bring a division. Then for this division, I'm just going to say pointer events none. None. Okay, so right over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that's an absolute, because we kept this as a relative position. Then from the top, I'm going to move it a little bit. So top minus 24. Okay. And left 1 by 2 and z 20 and minus translate x 1 by 2 in order to keep it in the center. Then for the image, instead of item.url, I'm going to change this from the heroes carousel items, accessing the current instance. I'm going to get the image URL out of it. Then I can fix the height. Instead of module stuff, remove it, fix the height, make sure the object is contained. Then I can keep it straight away over here. Okay, so this is how it looks. So what we can do is I can increase the height. So height as what, 96 something. Let's keep this guy as a relative position. height, width is 96. Now the problem is I can't expand this image height. Positions is relative. It's center. What if I increase this? Nope, width is not increasing. What if I increase the height then? Okay, if I stretch the height, that's completely stretching the parent height. Why is that happening? Let's try to delete this division and let's set this out. Instead of fixing the height. Okay, instead of fixing the height over here, I can simply remove it. Width needs to be full. Yep, now it's perfect. So I can increase the height, make it a little bit top. So what I can do is I can go for 44. I think I can even go even much bigger. Something like, what to say? 56. Yep, I think that would be appropriate. So if I change the slides, okay, so let's see. So now we can display, now we displayed the images. So next what we need to do is we have to bring that the action buttons. Let's bring that action buttons so I can display the I can change these things. So what I can do is, so right after this carousel has been finished, this is the place where the carousel has been finished, right? So I'm gonna bring the page nation that navigation button over here. We have to bring that. So let's create that div class name reflex width needs to be full, item center, and let's say hi. Where does the content has been? It's displaying over there. So this is that content. For this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure flex and flex column and item needs to be start. Justify needs to be on the starting point. Oh, not starting point, end. So this is how it looks. All right. Then for this, what I'm going to do is item center. I'm going to make sure everything needs to be aligned at the end. So this is the place where I'm going to create a div where I can wrap those two different buttons, right? So we can bring the two different buttons over here. I'm just going to say class name, flex item center, justify needs to be center, gap needs to be 2.5. Inside over here, I'm going to bring a button, UI button, close this. And for this UI button, I'm just going to make sure the size as the icon smaller size. Then inside this, I'm going to bring the arrow left. And the size, of course, it's going to be 16. Then I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste this. Instead of this, I'm going to change this to arrow right. Save it. You should be able to see those things over there. Okay. Whenever I'm clicking this whenever I'm clicking this, I'm going to call an inline callback function. If I do have the API, then I'm just going to say scroll next. Do the same thing. I'm going to copy this or the arrow left instead of scroll next. I'm going to change this into scroll previous. So this is what it's going to be. it's changing, and the carousel, it's working as it's supposed to be, and it's looking good. And now all we have to do is to go ahead and bring the pagination stuff. So right after, not right after, right before this guy over here, I need to bring the pagination stuff. So I'm just going to create a div which okay, so this is the one, and inside this division, right, inside this division, this is the division where we have to bring the this one. What is that? This. So what we can do is I can use this items, use this carousel items, get that hero carousel items, then using the map, open it. I don't need the item, but I need the index. Oops, we need to render it. So use the value brackets. Inside, I'm gonna bring a division, and that division, it's not going to do anything though, so we can keep it as a self-closing division. And I can simply supply the index for it. Then what I can do is class name. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the cn function. Cn, open it, supply this, and height, I'm going to fix this into 1.5, not more than that. Then rounder needs to be full. Then transition needs to be all. Then right after here, I need to write the conditions. If the current index is equals to the loaded index, then I just need to change the width. Width needs to be 8, and as the same way, bg neutral, that needs to be 600. If not, I'm gonna make sure width is 4 and the bg background color needs to be 300. Save it. So this is what we are looking up over there. So I'm gonna make sure this division, class name, flex, item center, justify center, and the gap needs to be 6. Or 6, it's too much. 2. I think that would be fine. Instead of I can change this into 600 and I can change this into 900. Okay, that's not making any sense. Okay, let's keep this guy as 600 and make this guy as a 400 one. Okay, that would be fine. Okay, so this is what it's going to be. And then what I can do is since everything is being aligned, this is the entire section, right? And inside this division only we are doing it. Instead of putting it an entire justify end, I'm just going to make sure justify around. That looks like this. So, or we can keep this as between. That looks like that. So I'm gonna bring one empty division in it. So I can keep this pagination in the center, and I can keep the navigation at the end. So if you change this, you can see the pagination has been changing, and the slide is also being changed, and you can see that's looking cool. And one more thing, if the user clicks here also, we need to change that stuff. So I'm going to make sure this as a cursor pointer, and right after here I'm just going to say on click, I'm going to call and call back inline callback API function. Then I'm going to get that API. Then I'm just going to say scroll to that specific index. Save it. Now user clicks this, it's going to take the user to that specific index, and that's looking cool. And on the mobile devices onwards, how does it looks? It's overlapping, right? So what I'm going to do is, this is the one. This needs to be on the large devices onwards, but on the mobile devices onwards, this is going to be the same place, not going to move anywhere. That's it. Now we successfully fixed that issue, and we have to do one more thing, which is going to bring the promotion card straight away. Let's go ahead and create that new component over here, hero promotion card.tsx and rafce. I'm just going to say hero promotion card. Save this. Then let me get back into the hero section. Then let me bring the hero promotion card, save it. So you should be able to see the hero promotion card. Just exactly the same thing. I'm going to copy these two stuffs. Copy that, and I'm going to paste it over here. Then I'm going to close the division, whatever the division is not closed properly. Save this. You should be able to see that. But in this case, it's going to take the column span of 2. It should be there. Then I'm going to bring the word wrap so you should be able to see everything clearly. In this case, flex column, what is that? Yep, so we just have to change that. I'm just going to keep it as, instead of keeping as flex, I'm going to change this so later I can do some customizations. And I'm going to get that color code over here. Get that FFD974. Okay, FFD974. Simple as that. That is going to be this. Okay, then I need to get this. I'm gonna make sure this into a I think what I can do is I can keep the image as an absolute one. Then I can keep these content in the left side. So I can keep this as a flex column. Item needs to be starting point and justify need to be between. And here I'm going to bring the h1 tag, which is going to be wooden chair. Then I'm going to make sure bring a span tag, and inside over there I'm just going to say 50% offer is going on, something like that. Save it. You should be able to see this. Then I'm just going to say class name. Text needs to be really 2xl of its size or 4xl of its size. Then font needs to be bolder. I think that would be 3xl, which is more than fine. Then I'm gonna make sure the color changes. So let's bring the color, the text color. Let's copy this and get this color. What is that color? It's completely different. It's having different color sets. Okay, I'm just going to copy this. Then I'm gonna put it text this color. That would be appropriate. Then for this, I'm just going to say block. It's going to take the available space. I think let's keep it as 4 and tracking wider. Okay, that would be appropriate. Then we need to bring and call to action button. So here, right after here, I'm just going to bring button from UI button, and that is going to say explore more. And that button, it's going to have the variant of the secondary variant, just like that. Then I'm going to bring the image, so we have to get that image and put it into that particular location, right? So you can access that promo char image over here. You can download it and put it into it. So in this case, I'm just going to bring that image straight away, and that is going to be from promochat.png. And let me keep this class name absolute, and top needs to be 0 and right needs to be 0. Save it. That's how it looks. And width, of course, it's going to be, I'm going to fix the height, so width can automatically 40. Object content, save it. I think I can make it even bigger. Let's keep it 60. That would be perfect. See, look at that. So we have the perfect stuff over there. So we successfully finished the hero sections along with the images, and that looking so good. Okay, which is perfectly looking up over there. And yeah, and it's completely working, and this is even completely responsive. Look at that. Cool, right? So let's move on to the next section, which in case it's going to be this, the daily offer section, and that's what we are going to work next. All right, people. So now let's focus on the next section over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close all these stuffs except the app.jsx, and then I'm just going to bring the daily offer section. Let's get into the components and let's create a new file and name that as daily offer.tsx. And I'm just going to say RAFC, then I'm just going to say daily offer. Save it and let me import that package over here. Save it. So you should able to see this daily offer. And this case, what I'm going to do, get into the hero sections, copy these two for the time being right now. Then I'm just going to paste it straight away over here. Or close the div, then close the section. So save it so I can enable the word wrap. Okay, so you should able to see this, and in this case we don't want to do that. I think this division is not necessary, right? So let's close this. And inside this division, so first what we have to do is basically everything over here, it's going to be flex column, and item needs to be starting. So this is going to be a division which going to have a let's say a grid column. Either we can keep two columns or we can keep single column. In this case I'm going to go with single column itself. Then large devices onwards, grid column, it's going to be 5 different columns, and gap it's going to be 4. So here all we have to do is to bring all those stuffs one after another. So for that I'm gonna get into the helpers.tsx, and let me open the types first. Export interface daily offer what we can do, category something, category, open it. What are the stuffs we need? id, which in case it's going to be a number. Then what are the things we need to have? We need to have the label, that is going to be a string. Then what we need to do, we need to have the image, that is also going to be a string. So let's save this and let's get back into the daily offer and get in the helpers. So here I'm just going to say export const daily offer category, something like that, which is going to be daily offer category, imported categories items, which is going to be an array of that. Open it, create a label, id, which is going to be first one, then label, which is going to be the chars, then the image, that is going to be the image I do have. You can download all these images from here. This 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, all these images are in the trial link. Click the link in the description below so you can download it. So which in case this image is going to be, what is that image number? First one, chars, this is the one, 4/4.png. Then what else we do have? Let me copy and paste it 5 times and we can change it later. So second one, it's going to be, what is it? Sofa. And third one, which is going to be cabinet. And then fourth one, which is going to be wardrobe. And then fifth one, which is going to be armchair, something like that. So now let me get back into the drive. Chars is 4.4.1 and sofa is 3.png and cabinet is 6 and wardrobe is 5 and armchair is 7. Save this. So now we have the content, and let's get back over here, and now we have to create this stuff. So which is it's more like a card. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring that daily offer category items dot map function, open it, get the item out of it, open it. Then I'm gonna get the card from dot slash UI, and I'm going to supply the key, which is going to be item.id. And for this, I'm going to say flex item center, justify center, and flex needs to be column. Gap needs to be 6. And rounded needs to be LG. We don't need any outline. So outline, it's going to be none. And border, that is also going to be none. Then now inside over here, I'm going to bring the image, which in case the image is going to be item dot image, then class name, height, of course it's going to be 24, then object contain, something like that. Save it. So we should able to see all these things. Okay, so the section it's taking, and this needs to take the complete available width. This is how it does it looks. So for the card, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the height, which in case it's going to be aspect square. So this is how it looks like in a perfect square. And for this, I'm just going to say height as previously what we did 24. So I'm gonna keep as 48. Okay, that would be too big. So let's keep it as 36 then. I think that would be more appropriate. Okay, so this is all it does it looks like. Okay, so the image colors are a little bit, so I can bring the grayscale 75. Nope, it's nothing working on. Okay. Because the color, whatever image we have, that's the color that I do have currently. So maybe if you're using any proper colors, that might look different. Okay, so here for this, what I'm going to do is for the first one alone, I'm going to change the color. So open it, and if the if the item.id, if it is equals to 1, then I'm just going to have that background color, and pg hash, what is that color code, get into the hero section. This is the color code. It's not promotion card. Yeah, here it is. Copy that and then get back over here, paste it, save it. This is how it does it look. Okay, so what does it looks like? Yep, they have a gray color. By default, the bg, it's going to be bg. Instead of this, we can use the ternary operator. We can use bg neutral 100. Let's see how does it looks. Perfect. And I don't need the shadow, so let's keep the shadow as none. That's how it looks. Perfect. So now we have that. So even if you're expanding it, it is not going anywhere. That's how it looks. Perfect. And now let's get back to the next section, which is going to be the next section over here. For the same way, we're going to use the weight this full, weight to full, and then we're going to use the grid columns, grid column 1, and from the large device onwards, grid column, it's going to be I think everything is in the equal size only. There's no much difference in it. So let's keep this 3. Okay, hit the enter. So the first section, div, class name, flex items start, justify, everything needs to be on the start, and flex column, and then gap, it's going to be 4. So let's bring the h2 tag, and I'm going to say daily offer. For the h2 tag class name, text needs to be 2xl, and large device text needs to be 3xl, and font semi bold, text neutral needs to be 850 or 800. Okay, Then I'm gonna bring a paragraph tag which is going to have a lorem ipsum text, something like this, and then I'm gonna delete a few text from here. Then I'm just going to say text needs to be base size, base, and text foreground, that's the color it's going to be. Okay, so foreground muted, sorry, text muted foreground, that's how it looks. And we need some gap between these two things, right? So space y, it's going to be 12. So we have some space, which is perfect. And we have to make sure this particular division size as an aspect square. Okay, and then I need to have the padding as 6, all the corners. So I need to have some essential paddings. Then right after here, I'm gonna bring myself a button, which is coming from // button. And here I'm just going to say explore more. And for this button, I'm just going to use the variant as secondary. Save this, that's how it looks. Okay, which I'm just going to get the same exact button from where, from the hero sections. This is the button, so let's get that, copy that button. I'm gonna get back over here and I'm just going to put it, and with this I'm just going to increase the padding. So the margin top, let's keep a little bit space from there. So that's how it looks. Or what we can do is, instead of adding margin top, we can say, instead of item start, I can say justify between. So that should distribute the space somehow like this, but I don't want these two guys to follow that. So let's wrap those things inside the divisions, and let's add some space between them. So let's say space y, it's going to be 4. So now we have the enough space. Okay, this is, I think this is not necessary, because if you check it out the design, you can see the button is close to the top. So I can simply keep it original what we did had, and instead of justify between, keep it the start, but I can increase the gap. So it's better to add margin top itself. Margin top, it's going to be 8. That would be more appropriate. All right, so now the first division is successfully done. This is the one, and the second division, this is the one, right? So let's get to that. So I'm gonna create myself a card. Okay, and then inside I'm gonna create myself an image, which is going to be slash, what is that image? Share, this is the one png, one.png. Save it. I should able to see that. And then for this card, class name bg, the exact same color what we used for in the hero section. This is for the hero carousel. Where it is, here it is. Copy this, close this, get back over here, pg hyphen hash, paste this. That's the card color that I'm gonna use. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, for this I'm just going to reduce the height. Class name height, it's going to be 40. Object content 40, it's a bit too small, 64. Okay, that's how it's going to looks like. And for the card, what I'm going to do is height, it's going to be auto, or flex column, item needs to be center, justify the content, everything in the center. Okay, then I'm just going to have a division, class name Justify needs to be between, and h2 tag it's going to be saying chars. Save it. And padding it's going to be 6 chars. For the h2 tag, this is going to be text 4 pixel and text neutral 800 and font semi bold. That's how it looks. And for that, right after here, I'm gonna create myself a div class name, or we can use this badge which is coming from where? From UI badge. Here I can simply say 30% off offer. How does it looks? Okay, 30% parent tag offer. So for this, what we can do is save it. So that's how it does looks. But what I can do is I can simply say rounded full, and I'm gonna make sure that is an aspect square ratio of it, and width it's going to be 44. That's too much, I think so. Maybe we can keep it as 20, height as 20. Yep, that would be more fine, but I can even reduce it into 16. I think that would be more appropriate. And then the variant which is going to be secondary variant, that's how it looks. And then the text it's going to be 2 pixel and font semi bold. Text needs to be neutral 800. And for this, I'm just going to say block. It will be automatically moved to X line. Okay, it's not taking that. Or we can simply change this into a division. I think that would be perfectly fine. So instead of this, I can say BG neutral 100. And still flex item center. Flex item center, justify everything in the center. And let me wrap this guys into a paragraph tag, paste it. And for this class name, text needs to be in the center. That would be fine. And let's change this into Excel. And line space oh god, leading, that's a line height, right? So I just need to reduce the line height. So leading 0.5. Oops, where it is, leading to 3.5, 4.5. I think that would be more appropriate, or let's keep it as 5. Yep, that's more than enough for in our case. And this char, everything is perfectly fine. And let's move on to the next one. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And I'm just going to copy and paste the same thing. Paste it. Okay. And now we have the tables. Where it is. This is going to be 50% offer, and for this it's going to be tables. And instead of that color, we're gonna use this color code. So let me get that color code. FEEDD8. FEEDD8. Save it. That's how it looks. And for the tables, what is the table size? Number 2. And save that. And I'm going to increase the height, which is going to be 96. Okay. But the issue is I don't want to stretch out this height. So what I can do is I can simply copy this division, copy this, and I can put it into the chat GPT. I can say that we don't want to, if I increase the table height, it increases the entire row height. I don't want to do that. That's it. So that is going to give us the suggestions. Since we have the 3 different columns, because of this option 1, use absolute position, that's recommended. Or they are giving us to use the image as an absolute position. So if is there any options to not stretch the row height? Let's see. Yes, CSS grids is the default rear align item stretch. Okay, so let's get this and change this into items. Everything needs to be on the starting point, and let's see. Yep, that's it. Simple as that. So we don't want to complicate ourselves. So now everything will be aligned perfectly on the item starts, and you can see we have this height issues fixed, and we have the exact same UI what they do have over there. Okay, and then now all we have to do is to move on to the next section, which is going to be this one, the get ready section, and then our latest arrivals, then finally our subscriptions and the footer. That's it, not more than that. All right, people. So now what we have to do is we have to design this section. So let me get back into the app, and I'm going to close all the others. Then I'm just going to get back into the components, create a new component over here. Let's say promo section .tsx. Then I'm just going to say RAFCE arrow function component. Let's say promo section, save it. Let's get back over here. Right after this daily offer, we need to bring that promo section. So save those things, and you should be able to see the promo section over here. Now inside this promo section, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these section, copy that. Then I'm just going to paste that section straight away over here. So let me enable the word wrap so you can see it clearly. So save this. So we can put anything inside right now. So inside this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure this division is going to occupy the complete width, because we need to take the full width for this, right? So for that, take the full width. Then I'm just going to say grid column 1 on the small devices onwards, but on the large devices onwards, grid column it's going to be 2. Then, and the gap, of course, we're going to have the gap as 4 inside here. This is the first section where we are going to bring the image, right? So let's go ahead and load that this promo section image. So okay, well, you can access those image from, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see this promo section .png. So let's access that. So I'm just going to make sure create a division, and that division it's going to be aspect square. So because we need a perfect square length, right? Then everything needs to be in the center, justify in the center. And inside over here, I'm going to bring this image, so that should load this particular section. Okay, so we have that image right now in our hand. Then for this image class name, I'm just going to say rounded excel. Okay, that's how it looks. Then shadow medium, we have some mild shadow effects. Then shadow neutral 200 or something. That's how. So for the materialistic shadow effects, Then right after this division right over here, what we need to do, we need to bring this. So let's say div, let's say class name, and then I'm just going to say space y, it's going to be 8. Then inside over here, h2 tag, I'm just going to say get ready for winter. And this needs to be in the span tag, and I'm going to keep the winter in the next line. For this, I'm just going to say text is going to be 4XL, text neutral, it's going to be 800 or something. Then font, it's going to be semi bold. Then tracking, it's going to be wider, the line space. Then I just need to make sure this needs to be completely block space, something like this. Okay, I think that is taking even much bigger, and it does have some padding in it. So let's say padding 12 in all the sides. So this is how it looks, and let's make it bolder, and let's make it even bigger, and the large size text needs to be 6XL. Oops, that's a bit too much, so maybe we can keep it 5XL. Okay, I think that would be fine. And now what we have to do is we need to bring this. So for that, I'm just going to use the lorem ipsum, the dummy text, and then I'm just going to say class name text needs to be LG, and then text needs to be muted foreground. And few of them are the text here and there, they are using the strong text, right? So I'm just going to wrap this inside the strong. Okay, so we can just here and there open it as a strong, and we can paste it just like that. So this is how it does looks like. Then for this, I can even make it bigger, so I can use Excel. Then I can make it tracking wider. So this is how it does looks like. Then we can bring a button right after this. I'm gonna bring a button, which in case the button is going to be exactly the same as the button what I do have over here. So I'm just going to copy this button, and then I'm just going to simply paste it straight away over here. Then make sure that you imported this package, which is perfectly fine. So now we have that exactly the same thing which we needed, right? And this for this, I'm just going to add some padding for here as well as 6. So that should reduce some space straight away over here, or we can keep it 12 as well as, yep, I think that would be perfectly fine. So now we have that perfect square size, and the sizes and everything is adjusted perfectly accordingly, right? So next what we need to do is, all we have to do is to go ahead and create our latest arrivals sections, and that's what we are going to do next. So now in order to create this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this, and let's create a new section over here called latest arrivals. Okay, so let's create a new component straight away over here called latest arrivals.tsx. Then I'm just going to say array fce, then mark this as the latest arrivals.tsx. All right, so let's import this. Perfect. Get back over here. And next what I need to do is I need to bring these two things. So before that, let me get into the promo section, and then I'm just going to copy this section straight away, and I'm gonna paste it over here. Section, save it. Let me enable the word wrap so we can see everything in a single. Okay, so then next what I need to do, I need to bring this our latest section. So for that, I'm just going to copy this h2 tag, then I'm gonna paste this, and then I'm just going to remove the span tag. Okay, then I'm just going to bring this called our latest arrivals. Then I'm just going to have a paragraph tag which is going to be lorem ipsum. Then I'm just going to delete something. This is going to be class name. Width needs to be full, but maximum width that needs to be XS. Then text needs to be small, completely small. Then text muted foreground. Save it. So that should looks like this. Okay. Then space 12, it's not necessary. Space, it's going to be 4. That would be more appropriate. Okay. And yeah, so we need to have some I think it's better to add the padding as 12 over here. Okay, yeah, now that would looks like even much better. And we need to do the same thing for these two sections as well. So like we can do that particularly later. And for now, next what I need to do, I'm going to create a division which is going to be width as full. That is going to be grid, and grid column, it's going to be 1 on mobile devices. But on the large devices onwards, grid column, it's going to be 5 different columns. Okay, because uniquely we have to structure it over here. This is going to take the 3 columns, these two, it's going to take the 2 different columns, and that's exactly goes over here. So you can get all these assets straight away directly from the drive. So in this case, I already do have that over there. Okay. Now all we have to do is to get back into this daily offer section, and I can copy this card, copy the card, and I can paste it over there. Then I can import it from /UI card. Then open the Pixar color tab. Then I can simply copy this, and I can simply paste it up over here. Okay, so basically what we have to do is we have to make sure that it is going to be a reusable component where we are going to supply the label, and we are going to have this ID, and we're going to supply the image URL as well as, right? So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate the types, then export interface, latest arrivals, which is going to have the ID number, then it is going to have the label string, then it is going to have the price, that is also going to be string. That's it. This is all about we wanted. And next I need to open the helpers, open it. Then right after that, I'm gonna say export const latest arrivals items, open it, which is going to be latest arrivals array. Let's create an array with an object which is going to be ID as the 1. Then we need to supply the label, which is going to be page, page so far. Then of course, if it needed to be access 2 columns, so let's say I'm just going to say is big. If it is big, that is going to be an optional one, and that is going to carry on the boolean. So I can simply specify which is going to be a biggest one, #345, and I can simply say the price, which is going to be $1540. Then I'm simply going to add the one last one, which in case it's going to be is big, whether it is big or not, of course it is going to be true. Then I'm just going to copy this, open it. We can simply copy and paste these things, 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so let's structure it over here. This is going to be the second one, which is going to be gray or chair. Then we're going to have the third one. You can customize the price however you wanted it, leather chair. In this case, the price is also going to be customized. Then the fourth one, which is going to be wooden or chair, and that is also going to be different, and the price is going to be different. And the last one, which is fifth one, is going to be yellow sofa. We keep it the price as it is. And is it going to be the big one or not? Of course it is going to be the big one, which is going to be true. Then the last one, which is going to be the sixth one, which is going to be the wardrobe, and the price we can keep it as 620 or something. And for all these things we fail to add one important thing, which is going to be the image. That is going to be the string. Perfect. And now let's get back over here. We have to add all these things, image, which is going to be the first one. Okay, so the first one, what is this number, where it is? So for this we can use this image, that is the number 11.png slash 11.png. Then for the second one, which is going to be the gray armchair, we can use this 9.png. Then for the third one, which is going to be the leather chair, we can use this 10.png. Then for the fourth one, we're going to use this wooden armchair, which is the 13. Then we can use this yellow, which is going to be the 12. And finally the sixth, the one which is going to be the 14th one. All right, now we have the helper contents and everything. We just have to create a reusable component. Okay, and we can keep a different background colors as if you wanted it, right? So I can just going to keep this one as a different background color, and the rest everything is going to be the same. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this out and open this. I'm just going to say latest arrivals items dot map, open it. I'm going to get the item out of it, then I'm going to render it, bring that card. I can simply supply the item.id. Then inside over here, I can simply bring the image, which is going to be the image as item.image. Save it. So that should bring the images. Okay. Then I need to use the column spans, right? So based on the conditions, I'm going to bring the cn function, write the normal styles, but based on the conditions, if item dot is big, then at that particular point it needs to use the column span of 3, or else for the rest of the time it needs to use the column span of 1. So let's save it. This is how it does look. Okay, then for this, okay, so I can simply delete all these stuffs, which needs to be aspect. Okay, let's bring the gap of 4. We need to bring the gap as 4, and we need to fix the height for this. Okay, not for this. We need to fix the gap 4, and items needs to be on the starting point. Yes. Okay, then I need to fix the height for each and everything. Height, of course, it is going to be 60, and object needs to be the content. So now for each and everything, height has been fixed. Okay, and then the bg, the background color, picture, copy this, f6. Okay, for here, for this card, I'm just going to say f6. Save it. So that should bring the card background color, And right after here, I'm going to add one more condition. If the item dot id, if the id is equals to 1, then that point I just need to make sure to use the different background color, which in case in ourselves the color is going to be something like this. Copy it and paste it over there, save it. So that's how it looks. And I can simply remove this item dot start, and I can increase the height as 96. Oops, not 960, 96. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, aspect video, and this needs to be aspect square. Otherwise, it's better to use the aspect square for everything. Aspect square. That is not even appropriate. Aspect square. This needs to be something like this. What we can do, maybe we can reduce the column size. Let's keep this as 4 and try to access this too. Okay. And I can fix the card height, I think so. Minimum height or maximum height, which is going to be 60. Okay, so that would be perfectly fine. So I can simply keep it as 96. Oops, 96. Or let's keep it as 72. Okay, I think this looks more appropriate. Okay, and I can adjust all these things. This I can let's make this position as a relative position, and I can make this as the absolute and top 0. Left 0. Height it's going to be 72. Yep. So I don't want to pin this guy. It needs to be in the center, right? So I can simply keep it as the absolute. Or we don't even. Let's try to add the flex over here. Flex column, item center, and justify everything in the center. Okay, so that's looks much better right now, right? And then gap, we can say gap is going to be 6. So right after here, I'm gonna bring a division class name. Width, of course, it's going to be full. And then flex, item center, justify everything needs to be in the between. So we have to bring these two in the left hand side. So let me bring this paragraph tag, and inside over here I'm just going to say item dot label. Then inside this span tag I'm just going to bring the item dot price, and for this class name I'm just going to say text, which is going to be base, and text muted foreground. Save it. So that should bring. Why is that for the first one it is not showing? for these two where it is. Okay, maybe because of this height, I think so. Yep. Okay, so the reason is because the image, it's taking some unnecessary image height overall over here. So all I just have to make sure from here, see, we having some unnecessary space. So what I can do is I can simply reveal in the filer and I can get back over here. Let me open this and I can crop this image and I can adjust the size. I can simply select what I needed, not much more excess space from there. Just remove that unnecessary space. That's it. Just select only what you needed and remove that unnecessary space. That would be crop it and save it. Replace it on the same thing. Let's do the same thing for the number 10. And I can select, see, it does having a lot of unnecessary spaces. I can crop this and I can save it. Then I can get this. It does have a lots of space, so I'm just going to crop this guy from here to here. Crop it, save it. Do the same. Just remove the unnecessary spaces. Crop it, save it. Over here as well as, let me bring it. I'm just going to select the image, crop it, save it. And let's do the same for this as well as. I think that would be the final images would be fine. Close this. So now if you refresh this, you should be able to see that we do have some nice like what is it, the image is looking much more better right now. Instead of this, I can go with 72. Yep, I think that would be far more better right now. I think so. Yes. And then for this, I can simply say class name block. That's how it looks. Okay, I can even reduce the height. 64, that would be appropriate. And we can bring that, what is that? This cart icon at the bottom right corner. So right after here, I'm gonna bring the button, and that button is going to be size. Of course, it is going to be icon, a small size button. And inside over here, I'm just going to say bring the cart, or which is going to be shopping cart. Save it. So you should be able to see the shopping cart at the bottom end, something like this. Okay, think small icon, let's keep it as the icon itself, which is perfect. In this case, I'm just going to leave it as it is. Okay, then on the top of this, I'm going to bring one more button. So I'm going to bring the one more button and put it over there. Okay, let's keep it everything on the starting point. And then I'm going to make sure this button is going to be placed on the absolute position. From the top, it's going to be 4, left it's going to be 4. Save it. That's how it looks. Okay, instead of this, I'm just going to bring the heart icon from the Lucide, and this button variant, it's going to be the outline variant, simply just like that. Okay. And that looks so good, and even if you're expanding it, it will be sticked just like that. And one more thing that we have to do over here, it's just right after this division, I'm going to create myself a div class name. Width, of course, it's going to be full. I think that needs to be right after here. Width full, flex item center, justify everything needs to be in the center. Then I just need to bring the button. So let me get into the promo section and let me get this button. Get back over here, import the button and change this into open the store. Save it. So that's how it looks. And where does it? Maybe inspect the elements. That's this accessing the entire width? No, it's not accessing the entire width, which means we need to make sure to put that even outside this division. This entire stuff needs to be put outside of this. That would be on the center, just like this. Okay, so we successfully finished this, and next all we have to do is to go ahead and create this section and finish it with the footer, and that's what we are going to do next. All right, guys, so now let's go ahead and design this section. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all these things. Let me close all the others, and right away over here I'm just going to say I'm just going to keep this as the subscribe section, and let's create a new component over here called subscribe section.tsx, and I'm just going to keep it as RAFCE, and then it's a subscribe section. Save it. And I came to notice that we do have the index.ts file, but I haven't exported all these sections over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this out, get into the index.ts file inside the components. I have to export all these things from here. So let's say paste it, and I'm gonna make sure all these things are export. Open this, close this, and then make sure as the default as, and all these things are coming from where /sections. Okay, then I'm just going to say export default as subscribe section, no space, from /subscribe section. Save this so we can export all these things and put it inside over there. Let's say hero section, daily offer, promo section, and the latest arrivals. All of them are imported in a single import statement. Perfect. And now let's see, we should able to see the support sections or the subscribe sections. So let me get back over here to the latest arrivals, and I can simply copy this, and I can get back over here and paste it, close these sections, save it. I can able to, okay, make sure to visible everything in a single line. And then next what we need to do, I need to bring this, so everything needs to be flex column, and everything needs to be in the center, justify in the center as well as, and in between over here I'm going to bring this section which is going to be our h2. So I'm just going to copy this and get back over here and save it. So you should able to see something like this. Instead of text 4XL, I'm going to keep it as 2XL. Instead of font bold, I'm going to keep it as a semi bold. So that's how, oops, it needs to be 2XL, and here it needs to be 3XL or 4XL. Yeah, that would be great. And then next what I need to do is, all I have to say simply here, just need to say subscribe to our newsletter, and I'm gonna bring the span tag and put it inside grab, and then one more span tag here I'm just going to say 30% offer. Okay, so for this I'm just going to say class name, keep it in the next line. Then for this span tag I'm just going to say font extra bold. Save it. If you check it out, this is how it looks. And for this overall outside, I'm gonna change this into 600. And here for this span tag, text neutral 900. That's how it looks. And everything needs to be in the text center. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. And right after that, we need to bring this email and the subscribe button. So right after this, I'm gonna bring division, class name, width needs to be full, and maximum width needs to be medium, not more than that. Then everything max width needs to be medium. Then flex item center, justify center, gap needs to be 4. Then here I need to bring an input which is going to be type. Then placeholder, it's going to be your email. Then I need to bring the class name. Okay, class name, it's going to take the width as complete width. Then it needs to have a border. Save it. That's how it looks. Then it needs to be border gray 200 and rounded full. Then it needs to have padding 2.5 in all the corners. Be 2.5. That's how it looks. Okay, then right after here we need to bring a button which is going to be the component from ./UI component. I'm just going to simply say subscribe. Save it. That's how it looks. And the button size, it's going to be variant, it's going to be size, not variant, it's going to be large button. And we can keep this as 1.5. Okay, so maybe 2.5 would be great. And for this also, I'm just going to say padding 0.5 or 2.5. Okay, so we need to increase it a bit more. Let's say height 4 or 12. Yep, that would be great. Then rounded full. Perfect. Now we have that. And I can increase the width as well as, if you wish to, I can say 24. Or even we can go up to 28 as well as. That would be great. Perfect. Okay, so and then I'm going to increase the padding. For this padding, it's going to px, it's going to be 4. That looks even much better. Okay, then right after here we need to bring this section. So I'm just going to say bring a division, class name, width needs to be full, and margin top it's going to be, or I mean margin top and bottom it's going to be 6. Okay, then rounded it needs to be excel. Then bg, it's going to be this color, which in case we need to access that color, where it is here. Copy this and let's get this. I'm gonna copy that and I'm going to put it straight away over here. Close this. Then I need to have some paddings as well as, right? So I'm gonna say padding, it's going to be 6 for the time being. Later I'm gonna adjust the color as height as well as height in this case, which is going to be like 44. Okay, I think that needs to be even better. Let's say 54 or 64. Okay, I think this should looks even much better. Then I'm just going to make sure everything inside in it, it's going to be flex column, item center, justify center. But on the large devices onwards, it needs to be flex row. and on the large devices it needs to be justify needs to be between, which is perfect. Okay, and in the left section, what we need to do, we need to bring the winter offer. So for that, I'm gonna bring the h2 tag, which I'm going to say winter offer. Then I'm going to bring a span tag, and inside I'm just going to, for the time being, 5 days, 32 hours, then 35 minutes. We just hard coded it, but in a real cases you just use JavaScript to calculate all these things. That when you're working on a full stack project, we can do that, but in this case this is more than enough. So this is going to be text 3xl size, it's going to be 3xl, and from the large devices onwards, text needs to be 5xl, and font needs to be semi bold. Okay, and then for this class name, I can simply say block, which is going to be on the below that, and then text neutral, it's going to be 700, and font needs to be normal, just like that. Okay, then I can simply say leading 2.5, or we should increase it even more. Oops, 14, or even better, keep it as 16. That would be great. Then right after that, next what I need to do, right after this, I'm gonna bring an image tag, which is going to be slash, like, what image we can keep, get into here, not this one, no, 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 where is that? Here it is, 11.png, which is going to be dot slash 11.png. Then class name, which is going to be height, needs to be, for the time being, I'm going to keep it as 44, or auto. Then object contain, something like this. Let's see how does it look. Oops, that's too bad. I'm just going to keep the size as 24. Okay, that's literally odd. um mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. So what we can do is, that would be, keep this as the position, as the relative position, and let's make this one 64. Okay, and we can make this guy as an absolute position, and we can keep this right 0, and then bottom right 0, and then bottom 0 as well as. Okay, so that's how it looks. And let's keep this as the height as the 80 something. Maybe we can make this guy as an overflow hit. No, 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 no. mm, we should increase the height somehow. So what we can do is 96. I think that looks better, and I can push this guy into a little bit minus bottom into 2 or 4. Okay, that's better, even better, and this is going to be 86. Okay, so that sounds really good, and let's keep this. Okay, so maybe what we can do is, we can increase the margin top even better, or we can increase the space over here. Space y-axis, it's going to be 24, something like this. 24, it's a bit too much. What we can do is 16, that would be better. Yes, that's looking good. Okay, and on the mobile devices onwards, I don't want this guy need to be displayed, so this needs to be hidden. But on the large devices onwards, that needs to be okay, there it is. large device onwards, that needs to be blocked. Perfect. Okay, so by this way, when you are moving into mobile screen, that will not be displayed. And it's the same way we have to fix this section. Oops, I didn't check this. Okay, let's open that particular latest arrivals sections, and our latest arrivals. Hmm, what is the mistakes over here? I think this needs to be 1 2. Yep, I just made it in opposite direction. If it is in a big screen, okay, it needs to take the single column, or else it needs to take the complete two different columns outside of it. Okay, so that's messed up now. uh 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 mm, what we can do is, maybe we can write the conditional something like this. We can delete this, and now if I reduce this, still, yeah, that is even much better now. uh, Only on large devices. Yep, now it is fixed. Okay, and but the problem is, card, everything needs to be aligned in the perfectly in the center location, and this things needs to be on the large devices. So for the mobile devices, everything needs to be item center and justify need to be in the center, which is perfect. Yep, and that exactly what we wanted. Looking good, right? So next, all we have to do is to go ahead and finish the photo section, and that's it. We are done with this. So let's go ahead and generate this footer section. So I'm going to close this, and let me get back over here, call footer. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so let's get into here and create a new component called footer.tsx or afce footer. Name this, get it in the index.ts, then export default as footer from dot slash footer. Save it. Let's get back over here and let me bring the footer from dot slash components. Save it, and that is going to bring your footer section, which is sounds good, right? So then let me get back into the subscription section, and I'm just going to copy this section and put it into the footer. Close the section, and let me enable the word wrap so you can follow it in a single screen. Perfect. Basically, we just have to create a grid with the 4 different columns of it. So what I have to do is, I can simply create a div in it, div, and make sure that div is occupying the complete width. Width needs to be full, and that needs to be grid, and grid column needs to be 2 on the mobile devices, but on the large devices onwards, grid column needs to be 4 different columns, and the gap in between that needs to be minimum 12, like 48 pixels. Okay, then inside in it, the first section, the place where we are going to bring the logo. So it's a first division. I'm gonna bring the logo container for the time being. Let's see how does it looks. Yep, I think that would be great. And I can even class name, I can adjust the height even a little bit bigger. Oops, that I think a bit too much. Right, auto, but width needs to be 44 or 28. I think that should be fine. Then class name, which is space y, it's going to be 4. Right after here, what are the things that we need to bring? We need to bring some paragraph text, which is going to be lorem ipsum and that's having some content in it. And then I'm just going to say text needs to be extremely small, XS. Then text needs to be muted foreground. Then right after here, I need to bring a button, which is going to be button from ./UI, and that is going to be contact us, something like that. Save it and let's check that out, and that's looking even better. Then right after here, we need to bring the next division div, which is going to be space y of 4, and then I'm going to bring an h2 tag, which is going to be useful links. And then for this, I'm just going to say text that needs to be uh, SM, right? Let's keep the text sizes smaller, SM. Okay, and then text needs to be neutral 800, and then font needs to be semi-bold. Save it, and that's how it does looks. And then I need some margin space below that, so margin bottom it's going to be 6, and then right after here I'm gonna have a UL tag and an LI tag, sorry, UL tag class name, which is going to be flex, or we can simply keep the link tags, link, which is coming from, sorry, we don't have the link, so I thought, my bad, href, it's going to be hash, and it's going to be home. I'm gonna copy and paste it 3 more times, and this is going to be blog, and this is going to be store, and finally it's going to be sale. Save these changes and let's check this out. That's how it looks. And I'm gonna wrap all these guys and put it inside a division, paste it, and for this div I'm just going to say flex column item, everything needs to be on the starting point, and then gap that needs to be 6, oops, or at least 4, or let's keep it 3. I think that would be great, 3. And then for all the anchor tags, create a multi-cursor editor just by holding your alt or options key. Then I'm just going to say text muted foreground. Okay, that looks even better. So I'm just going to duplicate this exact same thing, paste it 2 more times, so that does exactly looks in the same way, but you can customize your the contents over there, right? So that's the footer. You just have to replace your contents and everything. Okay, so next what I have to do, we have to bring the copyright sections even at the end. So right after this section, I'm just going to give a division which is going to be width that needs to be what we can say, width that needs to be full, then bg that needs to be neutral 100, and then rounded top that needs to be excel, and flex item center, justify, everything needs to be in the center, and height that needs to be 12. Then I'm just going to say and paragraph tag, and that for the paragraph tag text needs to be muted foreground, and text needs to be extremely small, and that is going to be copyright. Okay, copyright. I can simply say all rights reserved, something like this. Okay, and this is how it does looks, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so we successfully finished this complete section, and it's completely responsive. only one thing except this header section. Let's jump into the header section, and this nav bar, open it here. Okay, this needs to be hidden. This needs to be hidden, but it on the LG large devices onwards, it needs to be displayed. So by this way, you can simply hide this guy. Okay, and only on the large screens you should be able to view that. And it's the same way we have to customize this section because that's looking too big, which is going to be on the hero section, I think so. Not the hero section, maybe daily offer sections. This is the card. Okay, so we can break this into two different columns on the mobile screen. Okay, that's even look much better. Okay, and that's looking exactly the same thing which we wanted, and it is completely responsive. You should be able to see that. And for the header, what we can do is we can bring one more important stuff, which is going to be the sheet. So when the header, this nav bar, this particular nav bar is being hidden, what we can do is right after this avatar section, I can bring a toggle container. So for that, what I can do is I can get into the ShadCN and search for sheet. Okay, search for sheet. Oops, it's not opening. Why? Okay, here. Now if you click this, you should be able to see it's been popping up a sidebar container over there, right? So what I can do is I can simply get this guy into our home screen. So I'm just going to bring this, import all these. Perfect. And I'm gonna copy this, paste it straight away over here, and instead of this open menu, I'm just going to bring the menu icon from the Lucide React, and this needs to be class name. This needs to be hidden on the large devices. Okay, and it needs to be block on the mobile devices. Okay, and I don't need this sheet title. I can simply delete the sheet title, but I can't leave it empty because it will throw an error. Okay, and that should fix the issue. If I see, you should be able to see the menu icon. If I click this, I should be able to see this sidebar, which is perfectly fine, and we successfully finished the UI, which is completely functional and it is completely responsive, and we built everything completely from the scratch just by using React, TypeScript, and by using the modern library ShadCN UI. Okay, so and now the final step, which is going to be deploying this project into the GitHub, and that's what we are going to do next. So let's open the gate and let's write the changes over here. Changes, let's say project completed, something like this. Click it, and all we have to do is to pull or push these changes into your git. Okay, it's loading. Let's wait. And now it is successfully being pushed to the gate. And now all we have to do is to customize your if you wish to, you can customize this readme file. And for that, what we can do is maybe we can open the ShadCN. We can open the chat GPT. Open the chat GPT, and let's ask this. Um, let's take a snap of this project, and let's ask the chat GPT. This is the UI build using React.js with Vite, with TypeScript, and with ShadCN. I need a readme.md raw formatted file, so I can copy paste it on my git readme.md file. Give a brief explanations and the tech stacks used in this project, that file. So that is going to give you the raw code format, and yeah, this is it. See, Sophie Furniture Store and modern responsive furnitures and blah blah blah. It's having a lot of features, tech stacks. UI styling. We don't need this project structures, as well as maybe if you wish to keep it, you can have it. Getting started, how to clone this. See, simple as that. I'm just going to simply copy it and get into the readme file. Here it is. Then I'm just going to simply delete everything. Delete. I'm going to paste this. And if you scroll little bit on the top, you should be able to see the text called bash. You can simply delete that bash text. Then I don't need this project structure. That's not necessary. And dev tools, we haven't used it. And cloning. In order to clone your GitHub, I just have to copy this. Then I just have to replace this. Perfect. And this is it. And then I can simply make the changes. Readme file updated, and sync the changes. Oops. Get over here, pull or push to all these changes into the furniture app, and let's click this. That's it. So you have yourself the brief explanation about your project in your file, right? So we successfully pushed our project into the GitHub, and we are at the end of the series, right? So I hope you guys learned something unique in this video. So if you are having any questions in this project, leave your questions in the comment section. And if you're looking for something else like UI build or full stack project build, so we are preparing it, and it will be coming up one by one. And if you have any specific requirements and anything, please drop it in your comment section, so we're happy to help you out, right? So, and once again, if you need the source code and if you need the asset links, everything is in the description below, so please go ahead and click it and you can have it. All right, so hit the subscribe and hit that bell icon to keep getting notified. All right, I'll see you all in the next video.